Welcome to the Kaha Club. Roll up. Let's take a rip. Let me tell you the world is yours. Yeah, bish. And here we are, Kaha Club. MMA episode number 20, number 20. Can't believe I've done 20 hours at least of talking straight MMA and fighting. It's pretty cool, I guess. It's just out there in the world for anybody to happen upon forever, as long as the internet does not go down. On this episode, I'm mainly be talking about the UFC 238 card coming up this Saturday. That will be June 8th. As I said, Saturday. Today is Wednesday on the 5th. That's when I'm recording this. And I will actually be at these fights live. So I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. I don't even remember when they put tickets out, when they started. It might have been back in December. I bought a ticket. Honestly don't remember. Got a hotel, literally a block or two, I think. I don't really remember off the top of my head right now, but it was like 1,000 or 2,000 feet from the United Center. And then the night before, I'll be getting there Friday and go and see Joe Rogan do stand-up live for the first time. So that'll be another exciting adventure before I get to see some high-level mixed martial arts. And I actually got an email today, and actually originally, I was going to say backstory. It's not a backstory, it's just another story. I went to a UFC event in Chicago previously. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it was Yoel Romero versus Robert Whittaker 2. So it was that fight in Chicago. It was the last fights they had in Chicago. It was a good time. I enjoyed it, but I plan on getting there a little early and checking in the hotel. And then UFC offers this fan experience, and I was curious if they did this for all events or not. I can't remember if they did it. I don't think they did it for the fight night I went to in Milwaukee. But at least for the big cards, for the pay-per-view cards, they have this quote-unquote UFC fan experience. It's just in one of the parking lots, but it's free and open to the public. And from 1 to 5, right before the event starts, it starts 5:15. The first fight is Central Time, so it's 1 to 5. This little fan experience. Essentially, I don't know what it is honestly, but from 1 to 3, they'll have Cynthia Calvillo, Corey Anderson, and Macy Barber, who's a attractive young lady, up and coming fighter. Maybe I'll ask her to marry me, bend the knee. Just kidding. She'd definitely kick my ass, and she's like 115 pounds. But that's kind of hot. For 3 to 5, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson will be there. Chris Weidman, Curtis Blades, and Clay fucking Guida. So, I'll already be down there, and as I said, I'm walking distance, so I'll probably end up doing that as well. It says like one of the events is sponsored by Modelo, and it's 21 plus. That's what it says on the email at least. So, maybe I can drink while I'm there, so I won't feel socially anxious, man. Just because I am going by myself, but I don't mind going to things by myself. Also don't really have that quote-unquote special someone that likes to watch other people get beat up. And I planned this way far in advance. But as far as the fights itself, I cannot fucking wait. As I said, the event will be starting at 5:15 p.m. Central Time, so 6:15 Eastern, whatever the fuck it'd be in Pacific. That'd be the early prelims, start on ESPN Plus, which I don't give a fuck about because I'll be motherfucking there. And I'll be there. I got decent seats. What row did I get? Damn, I don't remember what row I'm in either. But the last event I went to that was in Milwaukee, I was about the 10th row, I'd say, from the cage, and it was really close. It was pretty cool. My seat happened to be like right behind one of the cameramen, so like a portion of the cage was always blocked off, and you have to like see through the cage too. So like the octagon posts kind of block your view as well. You find yourself end up just watching the fucking screen, but the event itself and the energy and the electricity in the building, especially when you get to the main event fights and the big fights, that I want to see all the fights, but obviously I and everybody favors the guys that we know and that are champions and household names. Obviously, we're just people, but I don't get my point or what I'm talking about. I'm kind of stoned. And I actually started this episode. I started the fucking intro, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, the weed just fucking hit me out of nowhere. I was like, damn, what am I saying? So I started over, and my idea starting over, and okay, let's, calm down, recenter, and let's pretend like you know what you're talking about, at least. And so I took another hefty bong rip, and here we are. I still don't know what I'm talking about, but here we are. But reason I mentioned, or the tangent I'm going on, I got tickets that they're really good. I'm not as close as before, but I'm a little further back. Actually, row 17. So a couple extra rows, and I've been in the United Center before for a UFC event. I was in the fucking nosebleeds behind a projector screen. I couldn't see anything really from the cage, or in the cage. I just watched the basketball, screens that they had in there. But I think this tickets, or the seat I have will be perfect. It will be just right above the octagon, so like you kind of get a bird's eye. It's not a bird's eye view, it's I don't know, just a little above the cage, so you're not looking through the cage, you're not the cameraman in your way, but you're not far enough away to where you don't see what's going on, but you're far enough away where you're not too close. I don't know. It's that Goldilocks tale, it's just right. Right in the middle. That balance, man. Enough rambling. I'll just get into the fights now. The first fight of the night, which is crazy, this first fight of the night is between a number 2 and number 6 ranked flyweight, women's flyweight division, between Caitlin Chukagan? I don't know how to say it. I'd have to see it. She's cute. They're both cute. Versus Joanne Calderwood, who's number 6. This Caitlin Chukagan, I don't know why her name is really fucking with me. She's 11-2, ranked number 2 in the flyweight division. It's a newly formed division, so still kind of, getting the full top 15 fledged out. But she's number 2 right now. Calderwood, who's at 135, if I remember correctly. I don't know if she fought at 115. I'm not sure. But it seems like this is her weight. Her last fight she had versus Ariana Lipski, she looked really great back in January. So I think she's definitely a contender for that one in the 125 newly formed division. She's 13-3, currently number 6, I might have said. Calderwood's minus 120. I guess favorite. Kukajan is minus 110. No, she'd be the favorite, and Calderwood's underdog at the moment. So very close betting action there, but no clear underdog, to get plus money off of. Caitlin, blonde fighter, Kukagan. Oh my god, it's fucking me. She's 30 years old. Henzo Gracie jiu-jitsu trained. Currently 4-2 in the UFC. And she actually lost her last fight versus Jessica Ai by split decision back in December. And I kind of remember that fight. I remember it being a good fight. I remember Jessica Ai, looking very solid. And that fight pretty much cemented her a shot at the title versus Valentina Shevchenko, which is a co-main event on this card. And so I remember that fight being a very good fight. Jessica Ai looked great, but she also, took some damage as well from who she fought, which is Caitlin Chukagian, who's number 2 fighter, fighting number 6 to start off the fucking early prelims. And JoJo Calderwood's 33 years old, trains out of Denver, Colorado, Syndicate MMA, if I'm remembering correctly. I believe they're out of Denver. She's 5-3 in the UFC, currently on a 2-fight win streak, and as I said before, fought Ariane Lipski and looked really good. I wish if there was a underdog, even a plus like 105 on this line, I'm betting them, because I'm probably leaning towards Caitlin, but JoJo looked really fucking good in her last fight, and I think this is the right weight for her. 115, she has to cut too much. 135, she's good, but the girls there are just a little too big, or a little bigger for her. So we'll see how that fight turns out. That'll be a fucking great opener, that's for fucking sure. The next fight is between Eddie Wineland versus Gregory Popov. I'm fucking terrible. But Eddie Wineland's 23-13-1. Gregory Popov is 13-1. Is at 135 bantamweight division. Wineland's currently a minus 135 favorite. Popov's plus 105 underdog. Popov's making his UFC debut. I don't have too much more information about him than that. They don't even have a picture of him. The only thing they have is he likes to switch his stance. And I have not watched tape, because fuck it. Wineland is 34 years old. He's 5-7 in the UFC. Currently on a 2-fight losing streak. But it's his first fight in about a year. I believe his last fight was in June as well. It's either May or June. So either way, a year. He has had 13 finishes by punches, or TKO or knockout, or so that could be kicks, elbows, knees. Doesn't have to be punches, obviously. 5-4 by submissions. He's won by submission 5 times, and he's also been submitted 4 times, and also been knocked out 3 times, or technically finished 3 times. So he's been around for a while. 23-13 record. And we'll see how this fight goes. It's kind of hard to give any more analysis on a fight when nothing about one of the guys. So I guess we'll see how it turns out and how good this Polov guy is. He's from Russia, so I think he's probably legit. It seems like every Russian guy in the UFC is fucking legit. Dagestani or any of those guys. So yeah, next fight is between Bevan Lewis and Darren Stewart. Bevan Lewis is 6-1. I believe he's John Jones's training partner. They've been grooming him, but it's been a thing that they're pretty sure that he'd be in the UFC one day. His nickname is the Extraordinary Gentleman, 28 years old, trains out of Jackson Wink. But he lost his UFC debut versus Uriah Hall in December, which is crazy. Why would you have a guy making his debut versus Uriah Hall? Uriah Hall's a legit beast. And yeah, he went on a losing streak there in the beginning of his career, but he was fucking young. And now, I think now that Uriah Hall has some experience under his belt, if he's not already a top 15, he will definitely be a top 15 fighter, if not more. So we'll see how Bevan Lewis can bounce back from that tough UFC debut versus Darren the Dentist Stewart, who is 9-4, also 28 years old. He's 2-4 in the UFC, so this will be a little more even matchup for Lewis. And even though Stewart has a sub 500 UFC record, he's a solid athlete. Although he did lose his last bout versus Edmund Shabazian by split decision, though, in November. He does have 7 out of his 9 wins by TKO or knockout, and he's lost by submission twice. I don't think Lewis is a submission expert, but I'm sure he's trained in jiu-jitsu and knows some things. Maybe not able to submit Stewart. Both guys are very athletic. Stewart will probably... I was going to say he might be the stronger guy, but Lewis is 6'3", whereas Darren Stewart's 6 foot, and Lewis will have a 5-inch reach advantage. So we'll definitely, and he's kind of, what's this at again? This is at middleweight division 185, so he's like a smaller version of John Jones, basically. He's trained with John Jones, and so, although they lost his last fight, people were really hyped about him, and because of that, I don't know if that comes into play as far as betting odds, but he is a minus 200 or 210 favorite, whereas Darren Stewart's plus 175. I don't know, I might like action on Stewart, at least, as long as that's a decently favorable bet. I don't know. Stewart's he's on a losing streak, but he only lost 1 in a row. But, he's had a tough record in the UFC so far. Who knows, if he loses this, he might be cut. But if he can have a great performance versus a guy that trains with John Jones and people are really, super high on, he's back in it. And then same thing for Lewis. He didn't look so good in his debut. But if he can get a win versus a guy who has had UFC experience, although he's struggled record-wise, he has talent. Darren Stewart has talent. I don't see them, no matter how this fight goes, I don't see them really getting rid of either guy. They're still both 28, so they're still very young in their career. 6-1 versus 9-4. Both guys have under 15 fights, so it'll be a very interesting fight. The next fight is between Yan, I'm going to mess this up, Yan Janonan, she's a female Chinese fighter, 10-1, versus Angela Overkill Hill. Just mark out the notes I have right now just so I can get rid of this. Yan 9, Janonan. Her nickname's 9. She's 29 years old. Trains at a China top team. Not sure what it is. I'm guessing it's like American top team, but China. She's currently 3-0 in the UFC. She's won 5 out of her 10 wins by TKO or knockout, and her only losses by submission. Angela Overkill Hill, 9-6, 34 years old. Trains at Alliance MMA. She's 3-4 in the UFC, and she won her last fight versus Jodie Escobar by decision. I don't have the date on that on my notes, but it was relatively recently. It can't have been more than a month ago. April 27th. It's a little more than a month ago. God damn it. It's like a week more than a month. Exactly what I said it wasn't. Motherfucker. I can't trust myself at all. But Jan's a minus 180 favorite. Angela's plus 150 underdog. Jan's very, very skilled. Angela's very athletically skilled. It just seems like she's had trouble putting it all together, or maybe her mindset wasn't there. I don't know. Or that her timing wasn't right, or, the opponent she was facing are tough opponents. And because she's so athletic and everyone, she has the skill to do, spinning roundhouse kicks and knock you out, with one shot, and that devastating in a highlight fashion. It's hard to time that up, especially if you're not, opponents rushing you and getting you out of your game plan. But she looked really good in her last fight, but Jan's no joke. So honestly, I kind of like her to win this fight, and if I end up, I don't know if I'll do any parlay bets, but if I do, I might include her in it. That's all I'm saying. And that's the featured early prelim. The prelims start at 7 p.m. Central Time, so 8 p.m. Eastern. Those will be on ESPN. The fight to kick off the prelims will be between Ricardo Lamas, who's 19-7, ranked number 10 in the featherweight division, versus Calvin Kattar, who's 19-3, ranked 15th in the featherweight division. So we got another ranked matchup. Start off the prelims. Pretty dope. Ricardo the Bully Lamas. Been around for a while, 37-year-old. 10-5 in the UFC. He's had 15 fights in the UFC. That's insane. 6-4 by TKO or knockout. So he's won 6 times by TKO or knockout, and he's also been knocked out or TKO'd 4 times. But he has won 5 times by submission. Never been submitted in the UFC, at least. Overall in his career. Those numbers are overall in his career. He did win Ricardo Lamas did win his last fight versus Darren Elkins by 3rd round TKO or knockout back in November. Elkins obviously is a veteran UFC stablemate of the UFC. So solid guy there. Obviously, Lamas is ranked 10th, you dumbass. Calvin, the Boston finisher, Kattar, 19-3, as I said, ranked 15th, 31 years old. He's 3-1 in the UFC. And he won his last fight versus Chris Fishgold, who we saw last weekend on the Sweden card, who got the loss, I believe. But nonetheless, Kattar finished him in a round by TKO or knockout back in October. As far as betting odds, Lamas is a plus 130 underdog. Kattar is minus 160. I don't really have a strong opinion one way or another on how this fight will be. Lamas definitely has the experience advantage, but Kattar's had, just as many fights, just not as many in the UFC. But this will be his 5th fight in the UFC now, so I don't know. I don't think jitters will really come into play or anything like that. It might possibly be the first time he's had a number by his name, and it's the first time he's facing a ranked guy, so it's definitely his toughest test. So I don't know. I don't feel strongly one way or another. I kind of see this more as a coin flip fight, so if you want, you could place money on Lamas, thinking that experience will come through. And let's just look at the metrics. Kattar's 5'11", compared to Lamas' 5'8", but will only have a 1-inch reach advantage. Both guys are orthodox. We'll see how it fucking turns out. Yeah, as I said, I don't really have a strong opinion one way or another. I think this is just a, classic fight of, okay, up-and-coming fighter who's on a tear versus a guy, a solid veteran in the organization who's seen and fought everybody. He's been at the top. He may have even fought for the belt. Let me actually look that up for real. For reals. I've only been a fan for a little bit. So yeah, he fought for the belt versus Jose Aldo back when Aldo was on his tear. UFC 168 back in 2014. So a couple of years ago, he was, close to getting, being the king of that mountain. But he's fought everybody and anybody you can think of. So he's seen it all. So Calvin won't surprise him. So it will be a very tough test for him, and should be a very great fight. There's some just fucking spectacular fights on this card. Speaking of spectacular fights, the next fight between Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Alexa Grasso at women's featherweight division 115. Kowalkiewicz is 12-4, ranked 10th currently, although she has fought for the belt in the past as well versus Joanna. But she's on a 2-fight losing streak versus Michelle Watterson, and then got devastatingly knocked out by current champion Jessica Andrade. Karolina is 33 years old, 5-4 in the UFC. As I said, she's been towards the top, but a little on a losing streak right now. So she could be facing a real tough up-and-coming fighter, and Alexa Grasso is 10-2 overall in her career, ranked 13th. Ranked. I annoyed the fuck out of myself, Jesus. And ranked 13th overall in the division. She's 25 years old, 2-2 in the UFC, and she actually lost her last fight versus Tatiana Suarez. And Tatiana Suarez is actually the feature prelim of this on this card, so we'll be talking a little bit about her later. She's a fucking beast. So really no shame in losing to her, I guess is what I'm saying. But she lost by a first-round rear naked choke back in May of last year. So it has been almost a whole year since it's been a whole year since she last fought. But she has finished 4 out of her 10 wins by TKO or knockout. This will be, besides versus Tatiana Suarez, this will be the toughest fight of her career. Definitely a test fight. And we'll see how Karolina bounces back after 2 straight defeats. She's 12-4, so before these 2 losses, she was 12-2. I think one of her losses was versus, for the belt. So, most likely the first time she's had back-to-back losses. So we'll see how a fighter can come back from that. I think that's kind of more inspiring than a person that, not saying Jose Aldo wasn't inspiring, but if you just win for 10 straight years, everyone just expects you to win, kind of like Mighty Mouse. I love watching Mighty Mouse fight, but fucking mainstream fans and maybe it's just the little guys, but they weren't really behind him. He wasn't too popular. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about. I don't even know what I was going to go with that. What am I going to talk about with that? But this will be a very interesting fight. Kowalkiewicz is a minus 145 favorite right now, and Grasso's plus 115. I like Kowalkiewicz in this matchup. I think she's just better overall around. I don't know Grasso's game too much, but I know if she's a striker, Karolina can definitely strike with her, if not better. If she's a grappler, that might give Karolina some trouble, but she's experienced and she's a strong girl, and I don't know, I think she'll get it done. I'm not willing to bet money on it because it is minus 145, but we'll see as the line shifts what happens. Next fight of the night is another great one. Do we have, basically starting the prelims, you have ranked bouts from here on out, which I just fucking noticed. And then, there's only 3 fights that are between unranked people. And in those fights, those guys. One of the guys trains with John Jones, Bevan Lewis, Angela Overkill Hill. A lot of people know her. MMA community knows Jan, but not really, I guess, anyone outside of that. Eddie Wineland's been around for a while. And then facing a Russian cat. It's classic USA, Russia. So this card is just fucking amazing. And I can't believe this is a co-featured prelim, if there's such a thing. It's the second to last prelim fight before you get to the main card. It's between Aljamain and Sterling at 17-3 versus Pedro Munoz at 18-3. Guys are ranked 3 and 4. Aljamain number 3, Munoz 4. It's 135 division. Aljamain Funk Master Sterling, 29 years old, trains with Sarah and the Longo team out there. I don't even know if they train in Long Island, but I know it's in New York somewhere. Maybe makes sense if it was Long Island. He's 9-3 in his UFC career, currently on a 3-fight win streak, and just tearing it up right now. Seems like things, his athletic ability and his fight IQ and his timing and all the intangibles that go into, facing a man or woman across the cage from you that is trained to do damage to you, and so are you. And you guys have watched film and, implemented game plans and strategized on what to do in certain rounds when, in what position you do this or you counter that, or it's fucking infinite. I don't even know where I was going with that. But, I'm just saying Sterling is starting to put all that together. That infiniteness of infinity ways of dispatching of an opponent. It seems like he's starting to put that together, especially mentally. As I said, 3 straight wins versus Jimmy Rivera and Cody Stamann. And, he's very athletic. He has very good striking. He's long, especially for this division. He'll have a 1-inch height advantage, but why do I have to do math sometimes? But a 6-inch reach advantage over Munoz. And coupled with that reach advantage, he has very good submissions, very good ground game. He has 7 submission wins in the past. But Munoz is a fucking killer, man. We saw in his last fight versus Cody Garbrandt. Fucked him up with one shot. Pedro, the young Punisher Munoz, 18-3, number 4. Currently in the 135 division, 32 years old. Trains with the American Top Team, 8-3 in the UFC currently. And he is also on a 3-fight win streak. Versus Cody Garbrandt, knocked him out first round, and Brian Caraway knocked him out in the first round. Somebody else before that, but I didn't write it down. And I do have it pulled up on the computer, and I could just right-click, open, and look at it, but I'm not going to. I'm not. I don't know why. I don't have a reason. I'm just telling you. The show must go on. But yeah, Munoz is also well-versed on the ground. He's had 8 submissions wins as well, with also 5 TKO or knockouts. So the guy can scrap, he can brawl, and he can also submit. So this will be a very interesting fight. Currently, Sterling's a -140 favorite, with Munoz at +110. If the line favors towards Munoz as far as, I guess it would unfavor him, the betting action would not favor him. If more people start to bet on Sterling, the line for Munoz will rise. Maybe we'll get to +120. I might put a bet down there. It's not a given. I think this is another, coin flip fight, and we don't really know what will happen until it happens. So I definitely look forward to that. There's so many good fights on this card. I'm getting fucking excited. I can't wait to fucking be there and watch these. Feature prelim of the night will be between Tatiana Suarez, who's ranked number 2 in the 115 featherweight division, currently sitting at 8-0 undefeated, versus Nina Ansaroff, who's 10-5, number 3 in the division, and fiance to current 135 champion Amanda Nunes, 135 and 145 pound champion Amanda Nunes. Suarez was, of course, Ultimate Fighter 23 winner. since then, she's been 3-0 in her UFC career. Actually won her last fight versus Alexa Grasso. It was previously we discussed on this card. Beat her in the third round by TKO or knockout back in September. She's 28 years old, so she's still got plenty of fighting and growing in front of her. Trained out of Millennial MMA. Nina Lestrina Anzarov, which I tried to Google what that meant, and all I could find was aunt. So I'm not sure if that's what it is, if that's her nickname, but if so, I think it's a good one, because she kind of just looks like that aunt that has cats. She reminds me of my Aunt Donna. She just looks like her. But Anzarov's 33 years old, trains on American Top Team, 4-2 in the UFC, and currently on a 4-fight win streak. She's had 4 TKO or knockouts in her past out of her 10 wins, and 2 wins by submission, although she has lost 1 time by submission. And this is the second, I guess, largest betting difference on the card. Suarez is minus 800 favorite, and Anzarov is plus 350. A little surprised it's kind of that big. Suarez is a beast on the ground. She has great wrestling and ground and pound. I heard her talk with Brennan Schaub. I think it was on his Food Truck Diaries, and she was explaining, her wrestling background. And she wrestled in high school, and she'd wrestle and take down, guys at her weight division. She would take down guys with ease and control them. So she's a fucking beast, and I think Anzarov's striking is definitely more technical and more, or just better. But if Suarez can get to the ground, I don't know how well Anzarov's ground game is. I guess we'll have to see. And I'm assuming that's why the betting odds are so favored against her. And although that's a crazy, I could see it being like minus, and I said it's minus, or plus 350, it's plus 530. So that's a huge difference from plus 350. So fuck it, I might throw $5 on that. Throw $5 on that, potential win $25, man. Although the odds are small, according to the odds. But I don't know. I think it's closer than that. But we won't really see, will we, until the fights come. We will not. So, can't decide if I want to stop. I'm gonna do a little break here. Just I don't want to run out of time. Mid-fight discussing something. I'll take a little break here as far as the recording. I'll hop back and do it to myself. But the app you use cuts off after an hour. And we got the whole main card. Got a little news to talk about. And I'd like to expand on a little bit more and not be constrained by time. So yeah, I'll place my ad here. Skip through it if you wish. Listen if you want. If you're... I don't know. I was going to have some insult there, but it's not needed. So yeah, I'll be back. Peace. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? I know I did before I started this. I had tons of questions that I didn't have the answers to. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people, like to listen to? How do I make money off of it? Really, and all these answers were simply answered by Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use, and I cannot specify that enough. It is so easy, especially for somebody like me. I'm lazy, although I am tech savvy and I can do all this manually myself. I don't want to. So it's great, and now Anchor can match you up with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. So that means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. And, as people listen to this ad and listen to my podcast, I will get more and more money to this, and hopefully maybe be able to be self-efficient with this. So if you always wanted to start a podcast and make money, go to anchor.fm/start. It's anchor.fm/start to join me and a diverse community of podcasters already use Anchors. And can't wait to hear your podcast. All right, main card action. Starting at 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 Eastern. On pay-per-view, solely from ESPN, ESPN Plus. The opening main card bout would be versus Thai Bam Bam Tuivasa versus Blagoy. Does he have a nickname? Baga Ivanov. Tuivasa is 8-1, currently ranked 11th in the heavyweight division. Blagoy Ivanov is 17-2, ranked 13th currently. So as I said before, ranked fights from here on out, motherfucker. Since the prelims, bitch. But Tuivasa is 26 years old, 3-1 in the UFC. He actually lost his last fight versus JDS, Junior Dos Santos, by second round TKO back in December. And, I wrote down he's 9-1 with TKOs, which doesn't make sense because I just said he's 8-1 overall. So let me see what it says for right now. He's 10-1 with 9-1 TKOs. So somehow I fucked that up. But Tuivasa's 10-1, and he will have a little of a height advantage, 3 inches, 2-inch reach advantage. I think Tuivasa is the better striker in this matchup, but Blagoy definitely has heavy hooks, heavy punches, heavy hands, and decent grappler that could disrupt Tuivasa's striking ability and game plan. And I think that definitely played a role in his loss versus Junior Dos Santos. Although Dos Santos is a brilliant striker, he clinched with him and grappled with him against the cage and kind of wore him out in those positions, and then landed his striking and landed some nice dirty boxing to get the finish. If I'm remembering correctly, which I think I am, but if I'm not, fuck it. Not fuck it. I mean, I care, but I'm just a man. I can only do as best as I do. So it'll be a very interesting fight. Tuivasa is minus 150 favorite. Ivanov is plus 120. I do like Tuivasa in this matchup, but if it does get in the grappling realm, I'm a little hesitant. So this could be a coin flip. I'm leaning towards Tuivasa, and because I like him as an individual fighter. But I don't know. We'll see. Ivanov is more experienced, 32 years old. He's a 4-time World Series of Fighter champion. So, he's gone 5 rounds several times. So this is just a 3-round fight. Tuivasa seemed like he has had trouble with this cardio in the past. He did gas a little bit versus JDS, but JDS is a world talent. World champion caliber fighter. Ivanov 1-1 in the UFC, and won his last fight versus Ben Rothwell. When Rothwell looked really good, I thought Rothwell actually won the fight, but it was very close. That was just a couple months ago, back in March. He has 6 TKO or knockout finishes and 6 submission finishes. So he's finished 12 of 17 of his fights. My bad. And next fight on the card is between Jimmy Rivera versus Peter Yan. Jimmy Rivera 22-3, number 7 overall in the 135 division. Beecher. is 12-1, currently ranked 9th. Jimmy Altera Rivera, 29 years old. He's 6-2 in the UFC, and he lost his last fight versus Aljamain Sterling back in February by decision. He's 4-1 as far as TKO or knockouts go, and he's had 2 submission victories. So although he has a bunch of wins, most of them have came by decision in his history. He is 6-2 in the UFC. His losses coming versus Aljamain Sterling, and I believe Marlon Moraes as well, who will be fighting in the main event. Porier is a young up-and-comer. He's a fucking animal, and he should not be taken lightly. His nickname's No Mercy. 26 years old, trains out of Tiger Muay Thai, and he's currently 4-0 in the UFC, undefeated, and on a 7-fight winning streak overall. He's finished 5 of his 12 wins by TKO or knockout, 1 time by submission, and he actually beat John Dodson in his last fight by decision in February of this year. So he's legit. This guy's fucking legit, and this will be a good test, another good test. I mean, Dodson is a very good test, but he was bigger than Johnson, younger, kind of sprier, and I don't want to say more athletic because Dodson's fucking freakily athletic. He's got that, fast twitch, flying knee muscle or whatever, flying kick to the face muscle will knock you out. He's fucking athletic, but Jan seemed like just better in shape overall in that fight and just was the better fighter. So he's legit, and Jimmy Rivera's legit. He's got straight up knockout power, but he's lost some of the fights for the top guys in Aljamain Sterling and Marlon Moraes, and by devastating knockout fashion. Well, not by Sterling, but Moraes fucking head kicked him, if I remember correctly. So we'll see. It'd be a very great fight as far as betting odds. Jan it's minus 330 favorite, and Rivera's plus is at 260. Yeah, 260. And again, this is a bantamweight bout, and should be a great fight as well. All these main card fights are great. All the fights before them and the prelims are great, and even the early prelims are good. All the early prelims, you could have them on, you could have them in the prelims. You could have a lot of these prelim fights be on the main card, or you could have some of these prelim fights headline a fight night, like Aljamain Sterling, Pedro Munoz. That could headline a fight night. And talk about big fights. This next one, which definitely is going to be the fan favorite, and I'm definitely looking really forward to it. As far as, is this my favorite fight of the night? I mean, probably, yeah, because it's the 2 highest level guys. I mean, it is, and I mean, so is Rivera and Jan, but Ferguson, Donald Cerrone are 2 and 4, and both guys are fucking legit. Ferguson, I don't think he's been the champ. He's been interim champ, but he hasn't been like the non-interim champ. But he's definitely a champ, man. He's definitely champion caliber. And Donald Cerrone is the same, especially in this new Donald Cerrone, this new version of him ever since he's had his son, Danger. He's been a completely different fighter. He's always had the skill and athletic, talent, but now he just has this focus and this mentality that seems like he can't be beat. And it's kind of like that thing that Conor McGregor had when he first came in to the UFC. He just had such that strong willpower and belief in himself, and he knew he's the baddest man, and he knew he knocked Jose Aldo in a minute or in a round or whatever. It's kind of like Cerrone's almost operating on that wavelength now, to where he knows he's gonna win. I don't know if he does it this fight, because he fight a fucking monster in El Kagui, Tony Ferguson, 25-3 overall, ranked number 2, as I said, in the 155 light heavyweight division, or lightweight division, not light heavyweight. Sorry. You know, he's a fucking Ultimate Fighter 13 winner, 35 years old, trains out of Rain MMA. He's 14-1 in the UFC. Who the fuck is this guy lost to in the UFC? Because he's on 11-fight winning streak, so it's been a while. So fucking 11 fights ago, he was probably, it was his first couple fights in the UFC. It was probably years ago. He lost versus Michael Johnson back in 2012. So fucking 7 years ago. That doesn't even count. It hasn't lost since. That's crazy. He's beat Josh Thompson, Barboza, Alanda Venata, RDA, Kevin Lee, Pettis. No, he's fighting Ferguson. You can't fight yourself. He's fighting Donald Cowboy Cerrone, 36 years old, trains out of his own BMF ranch after leaving longtime gym in Jackson. Wink. Cowboy's 23-8 in the UFC, I believe. Most fights in the UFC, most wins, most finishes in the UFC. He's done everything but win the championship belt, and that's where he's focused now. And he's currently on a fucking tear, 3-fight winning streak. He's never looked better even as he's gotten older. When I say 3-fight win streak versus Ally Quinta in his last fight, looked really solid for all 5 rounds. Had that nice front kick that went around the internet there for a little bit. Showed Alexander Hernandez, humbled him, put him in his place, gave him a little lesson, taught him a lesson. I hope he fucking never talk shit like that again, because it was so fucking fake. And he's like, "Oh, I've arrived. I'm gonna fucking whoop this old man." And he got his ass kicked. And then before that, he destroyed Michael Perry. He dispatched of him pretty quickly. He's 10-4 as far as TKO and knockout finishes go. He's had 17 wins by submission. So, I mean, this is going to be a great fight. Both guys are great strikers, and Cerrone and Ferguson, both guys have great kicks, great hands. I might give the edge. I'll give the edge as far as punching to Cerrone, if they just stand there and try to blow or trade punches. But that won't happen. Ferguson's, just his, fighting approach and just his defense and movement is very unorthodox and very unique and very creative. And it's almost like he doesn't know what he's going to do. So it's like, how are you going to know what he's going to do? But I mean, I don't know how this is going to go. Both guys are great on the ground. Cerrone, as I said, 17 submissions. Ferguson's legit black belt, trains with Eddie Bravo, one of the best instructors on the planet, obviously. They have whole competitions named after him. They have a whole rule set named after him, the EBI rules, Eddie Bravo Invitational rules. They started combat jiu-jitsu because of Eddie Bravo. So I don't know, this will be a very fucking interesting fight. I can't wait to see it. I can't believe I'm seeing it live. I bought these tickets way before the fight was never ever announced. I don't even know if the main event was announced, but the fact that this fight was announced, I got the notification from ESPN, and then I realized, oh fuck, that's the Chicago card I'm going to in a month. Like, fuck yeah, let's go. I was so fucking hyped because the card was already great, and then the fact they just added this is even better. This is the most hype fight I've been excited. Well, I'm excited for all the fights, but there's more, I guess, mainstream hype around this fight than usual, I guess. Especially for a fight that's not a main event or a championship fight. This is probably the most hype non-championship fight in a little while. Non-interim championship fight. I mean, I can't think of another. I'm sure there are. I could probably think of one that happened a month ago, or find an example, but I can't think of one right now. As far as betting odds, Ferguson is currently minus 150 favorite. Donald's plus 120. Honestly, I might just bet Donald just because it's strictly emotional, not based off logic. If it's logic, I have no idea who's going to win. I shouldn't place any money on this. But just, I don't know. I'm not rooting against Ferguson, but I want to see Donald get that belt, man. I want to see him get the belt and be like, all right, I'm done. Go time, drink some Budweiser. He might defend it once and then retire. But, I mean, I don't know, man. I might place some money on him just because it's 120, plus 120, and I don't know. I believe in the old man. As far as the next fight, that's the co-main event between Valentina Bullet Shevchenko, and Jessica Evil Eye. Shevchenko is 16-3, currently the champion at 125. 31 years old, trains out of Tiger Muay Thai. 5-2 in the UFC, and currently on a 2-fight win streak. Or her last fight, she beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk for the vacant 125 belt. Pretty much dominated most of that fight. I think Joanna may have won the 5th round, but that was really it. Kind of just dominated her in grappling. And, yeah, she had 10 wins by TKO or knockout, so 10 out of 16. Oh, nope, that's somebody else, sorry. She had 4 wins by TKO or knockout. 4 out of her 16 and 7 submissions, so 11 out of her 16 wins she's finished. As far as Jessica Evil Eye, she's 14-6, currently number 1 contender at 125. 32 years old, and although she's 4-5 in the UFC, she's currently hot right now. She's on a 3-fight win streak, whereas previously before that she was on a 4-fight losing streak. She looked really solid versus Caitlin Chukagian in her last fight, and that kind of solidified her as the number 1 contender, next in line for this belt. Beat Jessica Rose Clark before that, and Khalidra Faria, which I don't know, but she was fighting at 135, I believe, and just fighting girls that are bigger than her. 4 losses in a row versus Betch Correa, Sarah McMahon, Juliana Pena, Miesha Tate. 4 solid UFC fighters. And, larger than her. So I think 125 is the right division for her. And although she has a fucking tough challenge in front of her in Valentina Shevchenko. Shevchenko is one of the best ever. She hasn't fought for 115 because I don't think she made 115, but she's fought for the 135-pound belt, and she couldn't beat Nunes or whoever had at the time. I think she was just Nunes was just too big for her. But 125 is perfect, and I see her hold at least defending this belt 2 or 3 times, if not more. Until the 125 division kind of gets solidified and we find out who the best female fighters are at 125. Is some girls are probably still fighting at 115 or 135 because they're still in the rankings and they're like, okay, I still have a shot here. But, one loss here or there might knock, hey, maybe I should try 125. Maybe that'll be better for me. So I don't know. We'll see as time goes on, man. And as far as betting odds, this is definitely by far the largest betting difference or odds difference or whatever. Valentina Shevchenko is the largest favorite on this card by a long shot, minus 1,400, while Jessica Eye is plus 800. I actually see Shevchenko winning. I'm surprised the odds are that big just because it's a fight at the end of the day. It really just takes one punch, but I don't see Valentina getting knocked out by one punch. But you never know, really. I don't see her getting submitted. I don't see her getting beat in any fashion, but it's a 5-round fight, title fight, anything can happen. So we'll see. I'm still definitely intrigued to watch it. As far as the main event, we got Henry, the Messenger, Cejudo, versus Marlon Magic Moraes. Cejudo trying to move up to 135. He wanted to take 135 from TJ Dillashaw, who he beat down at 125. But of course, Dillashaw tested positive for fucking EPO. And so he vacated it. I think he gave up his belt. I don't know. They were taking it away either way. But he, so now, 135 belts make it. So Cejudo's moving up, like you said, and now Marlon Moraes is the number one contenders in there. And he fucking deserves it. He deserves that title shot. And he's fucking legit, man. I've seen this guy fight in person. He's fucking skilled. He's slick with his kicks. He gets it up there super quick. And he's a fucking devastating fighter. As far as Cejudo, 32 years old, 8-2 in the UFC, currently on a 4-fight winning streak versus some pretty fucking top-level guys. TJ Dillashaw, DJ, Demetrius Johnson, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, Sergio Pettis, Anthony Pettis' little brother, who's, top rank 135 right now. And also Wilson Hayes. And Cejudo's had 6 wins by TKO or knockout, so he's finished some of his fights as well. As far as Marlon Magic Moraes, he's 31 years old. He's former 6-time World Series of Fighter champion. So he's had 5-round experience. He's had champion experience. So although this will be his first time doing it in the UFC, he should at least be used to the cardio, and I've never seen him come close to gassing in the past, although a lot of his wins have been in the first round and quick finishes, devastating fashion. But so I don't see cardio being too big of a difference, but if Cejudo can implement his game plan, take him down, use his wrestling, he's an Olympic gold medalist in wrestling, so we'll see when those two meet in the ring. Moraes is 4-1 in the UFC. His only loss was his debut versus Rafael Sunsao, who he actually beat in his last fight. So he redeemed that loss in his last fight versus Rafael Sunsao. He knocked out Jimmy Rivera in not a couple seconds, but a couple, like 10 seconds. Like it was either 10, 20, 30, or 40 seconds. It was under a minute, I believe. Beat Aljamain Sterling as well, and John Dodson, all top 5 guys, at least right now, currently, or they were in the past, or when they fought him, they were. He's got really good jiu-jitsu too. I believe he beat a Sunsao by guillotine. I actually wrote that after the notes, but excuse me, we can at least check that right quick. Yeah, he beat a Sunsao by guillotine. So he's got submission skills as well. So he should be able, even if he does find himself on his back for Cejudo, and Cejudo will probably apply some great top pressure. He should at least know how to defend himself and keep himself out of harm's way, to possibly get the fight back up standing where he wants it. This will be a very great fight. Not really sure who I favor in here. I kind of like Cejudo just as far as him being more, even though I just said Moraes is, submission experience, so I don't know. And Cejudo is continually learning. His striking looked good against Demetrius Johnson. TKO Dillashaw, even though it was controversial. He had him stumbling. If he hit him once or twice more, he was done. It's kind of a toss-up. It was a very interesting fight. Currently, Cejudo sitting at plus 100 or even, and Moraes is minus 130. So that line will more than likely shift before now in the fight. So if you keep an eye on it, it might go in your favor and place some money on it. Come fight night, I might just, whoever's the underdog, I'd probably just bet them. And that's really it as far as this fight card. I'm super excited to fucking go to Chicago and see these fights. Be my second time in Chicago seeing UFC fights. You see Joe Rogan live. Just have a good weekend, have a good time. As far as other MMA news that I've seen throughout the week, tomorrow PFL 3 is on Thursday night. June 6th. I don't know any of the fighters in there and blah, 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 but I'm very interested in the season format. It's my first time. This is their second season doing it. And now it's on ESPN Plus. So, I mean, it's just something to watch on a Thursday. So I'll watch those tomorrow, just see how the points turns out and things like that. In other news, Paige Van Zandt, women's 115 fighter, I believe. She did 115 or 125. I believe 115. She needs surgery on her arm that I believe she broke before because it wasn't healing properly. So it looks like she'll be out a little longer, and that's a bummer. She's a very popular fighter, and she's looked, she's still very young in her career. She looked very good in her last fight, which I don't remember who it was against, but I remember she looked good and she won. Not as far as her physical looks, yeah, she's attractive and she looked good, but she looked good as a fighter as well. She didn't look rattled or startled in there. As far as other shit, Jimmy Manuwa, after his last fight, losing versus Alexander Rakic and getting knocked out again, devastatingly, he's decided to retire. He's on a 4-fight losing streak, and I don't know, I guess hindsight's 2020, obviously. It's better than 2020's 2015 or 15-20, whichever is good, I don't know. Whichever the one I have. But before the fights last week in Sweden where he fought Alexander Rakic, I don't know how to say his last name. I should pay attention a little more when the announcers say it. Or the commentators say it. But before that fight, he said he wasn't concerned about the belt or rankings, that he was concerned with putting on exciting fights for the fans. Well, yeah, that sounds interesting. That sounds, from a fan's perspective, yeah, I want to see interesting fights, man. But as far as yourself and your career and what's best for you, and especially your longevity in life, most importantly is winning. And, if you're fighting, you're not fighting to be the best or to win that belt, even if it's in the lower division or UFC or regional circuit or whatever, you fight, you compete to be the best. You compete because you want to be better than the other guys. And you want to prove that to not only yourself, but maybe people have doubted you your whole life, or, a teacher that told you couldn't, or a coach or parent or whatever, brother, sister, mother, whoever. Every athlete has their reasons, but most of the time it's, there are some savages out there that are like, I just like to fight, man. But more and more as the sport is evolving, and it's a legit sport now, it's mixed martial arts, it's not just fighting. Kind of at the end of the day, it is fighting. You get hit with one punch, you're done. Just if you get hit on the button, that's it. It shuts off. The body shuts off. It protects you from itself. I don't know. I competed before, but obviously not on a professional level. I always competed because I wanted to win. I wanted to beat the other team. I wanted to be better than them. And although, yeah, it's fun, you can only go so far having fun. And yeah, you should have fun along the way as you're working hard and competing, but it's all fun and games. So why are we keeping score? And at the end of it, you don't want less points than the other team or the other guy, because then guess what? You're a loser. And no one wants to be a loser, and that's really just the end of it. Even if it's a subjective, bullshit, man-made game, you still don't want to lose. And I don't give a fuck if I lose at, Monopoly. And I'm getting into Monopoly, bro. I get competitive over that, I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But it didn't seem like Manuwa, he just wanted to fight to put on a show for the fans. I don't know. It seemed like he lost that competitive drive. So I'm not surprised he retired. I'm glad he did. If a guy's, now that we know Gustafsson's legitimately retired 4 days ago after, he's had a couple days, and he said, yeah, he's done. It feels like I don't have it in me anymore, to be honest. He's confirmed that he's retiring. And although it's sad to see a guy go out, especially after being finished, I applaud them, man. I applaud them. If you're not in it 100%, if you're just going out there to have fun, and you're not doing it because you want to be the best, you want to win the belt, and you want to prove something to yourself, or whatever the other external forces could be, then you probably shouldn't do it, especially this sport, because it can be very damaging. Yes, I know it can be a way of life and a way to provide for your family, so on and so forth, but I don't know. I want to get punched for a living if I didn't have to. And I guess I'm lucky that I don't have to, but I also don't get paid as much as some of these, at least these guys, because they're fucking legit athletes. They pay a lot more as far as their training and such, and blah blah blah. It's a lot. So I condone any man or woman that gets in a ring or octagon or goes through any trial or tribulation or competition that requires hard work or requires, finding that deep, dark part of yourself where everything in your body and your aches and your cramps and your bones are telling you to give up, but you can find that place where really nothing else exists except for what is going on in your body or in the moment, in your mind, in the flow of competition and competing, and to where, although you can still feel the pain, you can still feel yourself having trouble breathing, you can still drive to compete because you have that will that you want to be better, or you don't want to lose, or whatever it may be, and that's just sports and life in general. It's very inspiring. I'm going on tangents, but Johnny Walker, who hurt himself celebrating his last fight, is cleared to return. I hope he doesn't have any long-lasting implications after that. I guess I have had shoulder injuries. I haven't had surgery or anything like that, and he didn't either. I think he did a bunch of rehab, but shoulders can be tough injuries, and I don't know how they apply as fighting, but I always played football and baseball growing up, so I always could throw, and shoulders were very important. And then I got to college, I wasn't playing organized sports anymore, and joined the dodgeball team, ended up throwing my arm out eventually, and that shit hurt for a long time. It's still not the greatest. I haven't really, thrown anything seriously like a baseball or anything like that in a little while, but it was at a point where my arm was literally, not that it was dead, but it literally felt like it was just numb all the time. My shoulder it would throb while sitting in class, or it just felt heavy. It felt like there wasn't really any nerve feeling there. It definitely feels a lot better now. Hanging from pull-up bars or doing pull-ups, it was really great for it. It's neither here or there. I guess the biggest news, and this last thing I got to touch on before I peace out of here, I know I'm kind of just rambling here, but as I said a lot of times, it is what it is, motherfucker. The biggest news of the week is Khabib versus Dustin Porier is happening, and it's happening like some of us were predicting in Abu Dhabi on September 7th for UFC 242. I don't think they've announced any other fights for that yet, or I haven't seen any on the schedule or card. Actually, I haven't even looked. I wonder if it's on the website. Yeah, see, it's not even on the ESPN website yet. They got 241, 243, 44, 45, and nobody even slotted in these fights, but they got the events there. So yeah, it looks like it's officially signed. Both guys have signed, and Khabib and Porier will be unifying 155 belt in Abu Dhabi in September, and that will be fucking exciting. It'll be one of the biggest events in UFC history. I can't wait for that, and I can't wait for fucking Saturday. I can't wait for Friday. I'm taking a half day at work, driving down to Chicago. Gonna be chilling in a hotel room, maybe find somewhere locally to get a bite to eat. Go to Joe Rogan comedy show. Maybe have a drink or two. Maybe have a drink or two afterwards and come back to the room and chill. Probably get some brunch on Saturday. Or I'll probably just sleep in. I don't sleep much. Just with work and stuff. And I'm not a morning person, but you gotta be up in the morning for work, so. Still trying to get my shit together. I haven't even hit a quarter century yet, so cut me some slack. Still working on it, motherfucker. But yeah, and then I would like to go to that, whatever that fan entertainment UFC thing was. Maybe possibly meet a couple fighters, and I'm not big into meeting famous people or athletes or anything like that I met. I wouldn't want to, I don't know, I feel like it's very weird. Like, oh, let me get a picture. Like, I don't really care if I get a picture with somebody. I would just want to shake their hand, look them in the eye, and say, hi, nice to meet you. Holy fuck, you're jacked. Like, Jesus, you really could kick my ass. Or, I don't know, not even that. I would just like to shake their hand, say hi, nice to meet you. What am I going to do? Sit there? What I really like is like to sit down with them for an hour and talk to them, but obviously that's not the venue, time, or place. And I wouldn't want that if I was some famous person or an athlete and I'm there for some event, probably getting paid for it, and some random guy just wants to sit down and talk to you for an hour about your life and fighting and stuff. That's just weird. So I don't know. I've never been big about, I guess if I saw, I don't know. It would be cool nonetheless. It'd be cool. I haven't met any fighters in person, so even just be like, oh fuck, Clay Guida's fucking 5'5", like what the fuck? I don't think he is 5'5", but I'm 6'2". 5'7". That's my friend's height. We make fun of him all the time. But if my friend was Clay Guida, I wouldn't make fun of him. You know why? Because it beat the fucking shit out of me. But yeah, can't fucking wait. And I can't wait to fucking eat. I'm starving. I got that fourth meal. Munchies, I guess. Is that what the kids call it? Munchies? So, that's it. I'll be back here sometime soon. And until then, love you, stay safe, and wear protection. Bye.